On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks are back to their old ways, losing game one. Is it as bad as the final score looks? I don't think so. Tell you why in today's Locked On Mavs.
Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen today, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day. Leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to the show. Like the video on YouTube and comment anything below. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA to use the code, all lowercase, LockedOnNBA. For our first deposit match up to $100. And joining me, as always, the Aura King, the Aura King, the post-game prodigy from the Great Slightly Biased YouTube channel, all the way from Rollertown in Salina. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
Real quick, I want to give a quick shout-out to Rollertown. Shout-out to Ben and Skin. We're here.
Ben and Skin.
Boom. I mean, it's a great spot, man. It was packed. I got to say, it was jam-packed for the game. Look at that guy behind me, huh?
Derrick.
A beautiful face. But look, I want to start by saying this, guys, because I know you lose, especially in the finals, and especially in that fashion. Here's the thing. The sun will rise tomorrow.
Ooh.
We'll get out of bed, go outside, do some outdoor activity. That's what I recommend for you guys. I don't recommend sitting inside. I don't recommend listening to any podcasts. Besides this one, don't listen to any national media podcasts.
Nope.
And one day we'll all turn into dust, but yet we love anyways. Yet we dance anyways. Life will go on, ladies and gentlemen. And the Mavs will win on Sunday night.
The poet.
That's what he told me.
The poet, Slightly Biased, Dirk, whispering sweet nothings into his ear, then relaying it to the Raccoon squad. Dirk telling him to just be calm and to understand that this is where you are. Yeah, Mavs lose game one, 107-89 against the Boston Celtics. And there's a situation where, this game was going to go this way. The Celtics are a very good team. We've been saying this all week, all the lead up into it, all the 150 million shows that I did leading up to this. The Celtics team is a very good team, and we'll talk about where the Mavericks were bad, why they lost. We'll talk about some reasons why the Mavs lost this game in the way that they did. And let's start, though, with some positives. Let's start with where the Mavericks showed us some life, because I think that's the thing that I really want to take away from this game. And I'll start by that third-quarter run. The third-quarter run to cut it to 8 was a really, really good stretch of basketball for the Mavericks. And it happened. The Mavs cut it to 8 points. It was 29 points at one point. The Celtics were just destroying in the first half. Porzingis was shooting like I said to the subtexters. I texted them, if Porzingis keeps shooting like Michael Jordan in Space Jam, then the Mavericks will lose the series, because that's the way that it's going to go. But that third-quarter run, I thought, was really good and indicative of how the Mavericks will have to play if they're going to win games and win 4 games in this series. They're going to have to limit the Celtics' three-point shooting. The Celtics are 1 of 7 from 3 in that run. The Mavericks were getting their offense, and then when the run stopped happening, the Mavs' offense completely turned off, and they couldn't get any buckets. They couldn't buy a bucket after that. With 4:27 left in the third quarter, Mavs had cut it to 8 points. How many points did they score after that, Slightly, in the third quarter?
Throw it on the spot here. Quick math.
1, 2. They scored 2 points the rest of the quarter, and they were on Daniel Gafford free throws, which is exactly how you'd think that this Mavericks team would score points. That quarter showed that there is some life, that they can win games in this series if things go right for them. But I thought that third quarter run was just a really good sign for the Mavs.
Yeah, they cut it down to 8, and then it got a little bit even spookier than that for the Celtics, because Kyrie had a wide-open 3 that he just missed. The Mavs had several possessions that ended in travels and things like that. So it was really some, I would say uncharacteristic misses from Kyrie. And, you too, man. Some uncharacteristic misses by Kyrie and some turnovers and stuff. And I think a lot of it was the physicality on defense. You could feel it. I mean, did Derek Lively have 6 fouls in the third quarter?
It felt like it almost. Felt like Jaylen Brown could just drive to the rim, flail his arms, and then Derek Lively was going to get another foul.
Derek Lively literally had 5 fouls in the third quarter.
All five
of his Yes, all 5 of his fouls came in the third quarter. But you can feel that, though. The physicality ramped up tremendously for the Mavericks, and life got a little bit more difficult for the Celtics. And then when their scoring started, the Celtics scoring started to pick up again. It was, I thought, largely due in part to the Mavericks offense missing shots and the Celtics getting able to go downhill, where already in transition, whether it's off of a missed shot or a turnover, there's cross matches and stuff like that. So they don't even need to really run action. Jaylen Brown can just attack the rim, or, whoever can attack the rim and kick out from there. So I thought the defense really picked it up from the first quarter onwards. So that is encouraging. And, it's just offensively, it just comes down to what can you adjust to get better looks for everybody involved. I mean, Luka finished this game with one assist, right?
Yeah, one assist.
One assist for Luka, 9 assists as a team.
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah, that's not a good number. That's not a good number at all. So
No.
we need to figure out ways to game plan better, cleaner looks, and a lot of that also comes down to making the shots, because the Mavericks shot really poorly in this game. And it would be a little bit different, I think, if this Mavs team has not had a history of losing game ones, and it sometimes
would it be better or would it be worse? Because after game 1 against the Timberwolves when the Mavs won, there were some Mavs fans texting me saying, I kind of don't feel good that we that we won game 1 because this has been the script. Is they lose game 1, it's the feel-out game. It's kind of like what LeBron would always say, like, oh, we get the feel-out game, you lose that one, and then you come back and you know how to attack them the next time. And I actually had a guy next to me ask me, why do you think that they're so bad in game 1s? And to me, I think their defense, like a lot of times we talk about your offense as a rhythm. It needs a rhythm. It needs to get in rhythm. Porzingis used to talk about that all the time when he was with the Mavericks. I need to get in rhythm. I need to get my shot in rhythm. Boy, did he have it in the first half.
You know what? I wasn't going to boo KP. I didn't think I was going to boo KP when I'm in attendance at game 3. He's getting booed. The boos are flying now, buddy. And that's not the only thing flying.
Uh-oh. Don't throw any heaters on the court or anything. But the Mavericks, their defense is a rhythm defense. They get into a rhythm, they figure you out, and they figure out how to stop you a little bit. And you can even see in this game, I mean, just the scoring. I mean, we won't count the fourth quarter, but 37 points by the Celtics in the first quarter, 26 in the second, 23 in the third, right? Like, their defense eventually got into a rhythm and figured out how to play. If you just had watched that first quarter and you'd say, which of these teams had 10 or more days off and didn't barely play anybody through their first 3 rounds, you would think it was the Mavericks, and you think the Celtics were this team that was ready in it and had the energy, were ready to go and all that. Like it just kind of flipped on them if you didn't even know the script of this. And so I think the Mavs have to their defense will be better than it was in the first quarter, because I think we saw it in the second and third.
And a lot of it too is the Celtics hitting shots. Like you said, KP couldn't miss. There was that one, Hauser, and this team can hit. It's what we've talked about. We talked about it, and I want to even say in the pod we did yesterday, I thought this would be a 7-game series. Boo! Cover those things up, man. Those are Dallas Cowboys.
For the audio
banners,
listeners,
man.
it's the banners of the Celtics.
Those are Dallas Cowboys type of banners. We don't care, man. Anything before 95.
Whoa.
Anything before I came onto this planet is irrelevant to me. Boo. Anyways, as I was saying. What was I saying? Sorry, I got that. Just pissed me off so bad seeing those things.
I was trying to show the court, but like, that's what
you're talking really got you up there, man.
Oh, I'm up here. I can touch the. Hey, look at this. I can touch the ceiling.
Look, Nick's a tall guy. Nick is a deceptively tall guy. People always say that. That's always
Sneaky
the funniest
athletic
thing. I didn't know you were that tall. It's like, thanks, I guess. But anyways, that's a short ceiling.
I think.
No, I was. Sorry. I figured out what I was saying.
We're in mid-season form here.
We are in mid-season form, and everyone's going to assume I'm drunk, guys. I'm not drunk. I'm just trying to compose myself here. No, what I was saying is I said on the pod yesterday, the way that this Celtics team plays, I thought this series would go 7 games. I still believe that. And there might be a game or two the Celtics win in blowout fashion. That's just with how they bomb. Right. With how they bomb threes and how this Mavericks team likes to play. There's just styles contrast so much there that there's going to be some games here and there where the Celtics are feeling it from 3 and the Mavericks have their back up against the wall. And that's what we got tonight.
We got that. And I think there are a lot more signs, though, that this Mavericks team can be better. I mean, I think they can definitely play better than they played in this game, because there were some really bad mistakes and things like that. But the first 2 signs that you take away are that third quarter run where the Mavericks limited the amount of Celtics threes, and that their defense really warmed up and their defense got better as the game went on. I think those 2 things. The next thing for me, how bad Kyrie Irving was. I'm actually kind of encouraged by that. I'll tell you why coming up.
Okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks Daily Fantasy made easy. All you have to do is go to prizepicks.com and you pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections. It's not against a bunch of different people in a league that all they do is sit at home and run algorithms and figure out this, and they do it professionally and all that. You're just playing against the stat projection. So if you think that Luka Doncic is going to have more than 30 points in Game 2, go ahead and go to Prize Picks. See what is there for you. You can also do points, rebounds, plus assists. You can do fun things like that. You pick more or less. They have all kinds of other fun things too, where you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports during the finals. So go check it out. The finals mean more on Prize Picks, and so do the star players. You get boosted payouts on select basketball stars you won't find anywhere else. Go check out Prize Picks, prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Download the app. Use that code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. I'm here in TD Garden at the finals. Little bucket list dream come true for 12-year-old Nick to be able to go to an NBA Finals game. Absolutely incredible. Brother. The atmosphere was amazing. I posted a lot of stuff on Instagram at Nick Van Exit, Twitter at Nick Van Exit. You can go follow me on there. I'll post stuff on TikTok as well. Amazing. And you're over there at Rollertown, the brewery from our great friends Ben and Skin. I
love these guys, man.
Amazing.
They're great guys.
We also want to tell you that we'll be doing a live show before Game 3 at Four Corners Brewery in Dallas, a live in-person show. If you want to come see me and Slightly, some of our friends, I think Reggie Atatula is going to be showing up. I think Kevin Gray is going to be showing up. Got some friends coming through. If you want to watch a live show from us and come hang out with us and drink have some great drinks and all that, Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Four Corners Brewery. Be there in Dallas. Go check it out, and we'll tweet some more and have more info on that at a later date. But your watch party there at Rollertown made me think of it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great atmosphere. I thought about it, and I was like, they hit me up yesterday. They're like, any chance you want to come and do your watch party from here? And I was like, let's see. I was thinking about it. I was like, NBA Finals. Should I watch it cooped up in my apartment?
By yourself.
By myself. And for what's like a once every 10 to 15 years thing? Or, I mean, hopefully not, but just statistically. Or do I want to go out and enjoy it and be around people? Pretty easy choice.
That's an easy choice. So if you want to get out and be around people on Tuesday, the day before Game 3, come hang out with us at Four Corners Brewery. Hopefully the Mavs will be tied 1-1 after the second game. Another reason why I'm kind of encouraged by this game. Kyrie was awful. And we've seen awful Kyrie games in these playoffs, and he responds usually pretty well to those. 12 points, 6 of 19 from the field. He had 3 turnovers, 2 assists. I mean, he missed all 5 of his threes. You mentioned one that could have cut the lead to 5 in the third quarter. It was just a non-normal Kyrie game, and to be honest, the crowd got to him. Just from watching him, you could tell that he was trying to put it on the crowd. One of my big keys to this game was that Kyrie can't get into this whole mentality of, well, I've got to give it to this crowd and I've got to do this. Now, giving it to the crowd and going out there and getting it's not too far off of his normal game, right? But I did feel like there were some moments where he could have passed out or he could have made a different decision or dribble off his foot or something where you go, man, that's just a non-normal Kyrie thing to do. And Celtics length and the Celtics guard defenders did disrupt him a lot. They have made him struggle in the past. The 2 games in the regular season, Kyrie did not score that efficiently. So this is not a brand new thing, but the Mavs need Kyrie to be better, and I think he'll be better than 6 of 19 in the next games.
Oh, I mean, he has to be better than this. I mean, this was about as low as I think it could possibly get. I would hope so, at least. I'm knocking on whatever. Yeah, a little surprising considering how much of a stabilizing presence Kyrie has been. Right? And just how composed he's been, how he's just – remember in Game 1, Western Conference Finals, he came out on the road, and what was that, 26 points in the first half, just set the tone for the rest of the team. And, yeah, tonight he did set the tone, I thought, in the wrong direction. Right. Because I think – I'm sure we'll talk about Luka at some point. I thought Luka played really well in this game. I really do. I thought Luka was on top of it, and he had some turnovers here and there, but, whatever. He has the ball in his hands so much. It's going to happen against a great team like the Celtics. Kyrie, I just thought, it just was not the Kyrie we've grown accustomed to. Like you said, literally dribbling the ball off his foot, missing shots that you've grown accustomed to missing, and then forcing it. And Kyrie wasn't the only guy. And it made me feel as if maybe there was a game plan decision heading into the game of, hey, let's really test out KP. Like you were saying earlier, we know kid we know Kid views game one as feeler out games. And if you lose it, you lose it. We can make adjustments. And it felt almost like early on, it was like, all right, let's see what KP's really feeling like. Let's test it. And unfortunately, he was feeling good.
That is very unfortunate. We'll talk about the reasons why the Mavs lost this game. But one more thing that I feel good about, Luka Doncic can score on anybody in this series. 30 points for him, 10 rebounds, 4 of 12 from three. That's 33%. If he hits some more of those and it is better, then that looks like an even better game from him. Only 1 assist, 4 turnovers, but he can score on anybody. Like he can get around Jaylen Brown. He can score through him. He can post up all their little guards. Like he can do that kind of stuff, and I feel good about that. Where that's something that I was expecting going into this and confirmed in the first game.
Yeah, and I didn't feel as if anybody threw him off his rhythm really defensively. No. So I feel good about that moving forward. And again, it's just you got to make them blink. The Mavericks blinked quite a bit in this game defensively with going small a little bit earlier than I expected, certain rotations and stuff like that. You got to make the Celtics blink, and they didn't really need to in this game. It got a little bit dicey, and it felt like they started to send a little bit more looks at him in the second half of this game. But Luka, I think Luka proved tonight it doesn't matter. I mean, he took Tatum right to the rim a couple of times, just literally bulldozed his way to the rim. He's got to dance on Al Horford. Poor Al Horford stands zero chance if that switch happens. And very encouraging stuff from Luka. It's the first player to get a 30-point triple-double or a 30-point double-double in his first finals game since Tim Duncan, I think is what.
Wow.
Right. So there you go.
Yeah. No, Luka, it's going to be on him, and he's going to have great games. He's just going to have great games. That's the thing. Yeah. This supporting cast offensively is not good enough for him to not have great games in a finals game against this caliber of a team. And so he scores 30, gets 10 rebounds, shoots 46% from the field, which is not terrible, 12 of 26. But he's got to be better. Like that's another thing. They need him to be better if everybody else is not going to be up to par. And so, I mean, there's a lot asked of him, but he's. I thought that Luka can get his own shot. He can get any shot that he wants, and there's not even a defender that will even make him blink. Really, like you mentioned, that the Mavs blinked a bunch, but I don't think that there's one that made Luka blink. I also think PJ Washington showed you some good things in this game. 14 points, missed all 3 of his threes, but he got buckets in other ways. So he got 5 buckets doing other stuff other than just hitting a wide open spot up 3. 8 rebounds for him too. 3 of them on the offensive end. He did some other things, and I think that he's going to have to come up big and be able to attack some of those single coverages or attack some of those, late help coming over to somebody else in order for them to win this series too.
Yeah, I was actually really encouraged by what PJ showed because the threes, those will drop. I mean, those are just variance-related things. But, yeah, I liked, when he had Derrick White on him, just we're going to back you down. We're going to go right to the rim and just be aggressive and assertive at the rim. And a big difference between, and I'm sure we'll talk about this here in a second, but a big difference between, PJ's attacks on the rim and other guys' attacks on the rim on the team was that it was more calculated and it was more, this is the matchup we want. And I know I have a size advantage. I know I have a physicality advantage, and I'm going to force the issue. I thought PJ did a great job on that. So, yeah, PJ's minutes were legitimately encouraging. And it just continued. That guy's a dog, man. There's no there's no moment for him that's too big or whatever. He's just ready to go.
One more thing that I'm encouraged by is Dereck Lively. He can play. He can play in this series. He's going to make a big impact. If he doesn't get those, kind of ticky-tack fouls in the third quarter, all 5 of them came in the third quarter. We already talked about that. But he can play, and he can make an impact in this game. He only got 1 bucket. He got 5 rebounds. He had a couple of turnovers. He had an assist. But his stats aren't going to stand out to you. But he made an impact on this game. His rebounds were big. He had another huge rebound where he traveled right after it. That could have been a big swing for the Mavs there too. But he can switch out on guys, and he's not getting destroyed. He got beat on the one in the first half by KP when he turned the corner and beat him. I think Tatum beat him on one. But, if those are the only 2 that I can think of off the top of my head, I mean, he can make an impact on this game defensively. Yeah,
and even if you think about his 5 fouls, which, obviously you don't want to get 5 fouls in a quarter, but
you don't.
I thought the physicality, that's not a great strategy. But
it turns out,
it turns out it's not a very good thing. But I thought, with the quarter in the first quarter that KP had, the first half that he had, that physicality. 20 feet away from the basket that Lively had on KP was important. It was important just to let him know. Even if it is a foul, just let him know, hey, this isn't going to be that for the rest of the series. I just want to put that in the back of your brain that you're not just going to sit here and be able to, legitimately elbow guys in the mouth and not get anything called. But, that is what happens when you're 7'3" and the guy defending you is 6'5". Like, there's just people are going to get hit in the face. And sometimes it looks bad, but it's not really a foul. So even though Lively did foul there, it fouled 5 times, I didn't hate it in a weird way. I really didn't.
He was being physical, and some of them didn't. Some of them didn't go his ways. The 50-50 foul calls there were some fouls in this game where I go, "Oh, Kyrie just grabbed Drew Holiday's arm and he didn't get called for a foul." And then there's other times where I'm like, I don't know, Kyrie reached around Derek White, and I don't think that was a foul. It's like, those 50-50 ones that you just don't know sometimes. Yeah. They just all went Lively's incorrect way, in the third quarter for him. Coming up, though, the Mavs did lose this game. Why did they lose this game? What were the reasons why the Celtics took this one and won game 1? We'll talk about that coming up. All right, Slightly, we're talking about the Mavs and the Celtics in the NBA Finals. I'm at the NBA Finals. 107-89. The Celtics won this game because of a couple things. They hit a bunch of threes in the first half. They dominated the first quarter, and the Mavs couldn't climb out of that first quarter deficit, even in that third quarter run that they made. But just a brutal first quarter for the Mavericks, and the Celtics came out, and they just looked more ready than the Mavericks, and they can get a 3 whenever they want. Their 5-out offense is legitimately tough for the Mavericks to defend, and they kind of figured it out as the game went on, but it was like a moment where the Celtics were like, oh my God, we have so much space and we have so many wide open threes because this Mavericks team just isn't ready to rotate exactly the right way. And they came out and shocked the Mavericks and made them blink in the first quarter for sure, and that's one of the big reasons why the Mavs lost this game.
Yeah, they lost the game in the first quarter, 100%, and it felt as if the Celtics were like, you know what, we're going to shoot 73s tonight. Like, they had 15 three-point attempts in the first quarter of the game. Like, that is insanity, man. That's absolutely insane. And then they finished the first half with 27. Like, that's
the Mavs
crazy.
gave it to them. The Mavs gave them those threes, right? Because they just didn't. Their rotations weren't there. The Mavs were taking dumb risks where you're like, why is Luka going all the way over to Tatum on the left side? Yes. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, there's going to be a wide open shot on the other side. Like, that just doesn't work. You can't take risks like that on defense.
I agree 1,000%. It felt like the Mavericks sort of figured that out over time. Like, there would be maybe some unnecessary help pinching in from the wing or the corner, because that's what your defense was supposed to be in the last 2 series or the last 3 series. But it's just, you got to work it out that maybe your instincts are, I need to pinch in a little bit to help because I got to give up. But against this team, you got to just you have to be ready to stay home. And if it's a contested shot at the rim, then so be it, rather than a kick out to an open 3, because these guys can knock them down better than any team we've ever seen in the history of the NBA. So, literally tonight they were
it's true.
They were the first team in finals history to have, I think it was 7 players with multiple threes or whatever the stat was. So they were bombing them tonight.
And that's the next thing, is that they have options. They have a lot of options on offense where, Tatum had a couple of buckets late where you go, okay, he padded his stats a little bit. But like 16.
What was that, by the way?
16 points, 5 assists, 6 turnovers. Like, he was not good in this game. But he didn't have to be. He doesn't have, like, this is why I called Porzingis the greatest luxury player in the NBA, because Porzingis is a luxury for this team. They don't really even need him to win games, to win this series, to do a lot of things. Because if Tatum is better, then they don't need Porzingis at all. Tatum just plays a normal Tatum game. But Porzingis gets those, great jumpers in the first half and gets all of them to go and all that. And then the second half, he didn't get anything, as Maxi Kleber, I thought, had played well defensively on him. The Mavs didn't switch as much on him. Luka was the guy that switched on him if they did switch on him. But this Celtics team, I think Tatum being bad and the Celtics winning is one of the reasons why they won this game, is because they just have tons of options.
Yeah, and that Tatum stat padding at the end, what the hell was that? That was the basketball gods will frown upon that. That was disgusting stuff. Yes, that was disgusting. There's no other, like, he was out there with literal into bench guys by himself. That was insane. But also, I want to shout out.
On that note, though, I would also like to know what Jaylen Brown said after he blocked Kyrie in that one play. I would like to know what he said.
He loves going at him. They're friendly, but he loves it.
He does.
Jaylen Brown was awesome.
He was great in this game.
Tonight.
Yeah,
he's really good. Honestly, if you got dropped into this playoffs and knew nothing, you would think he is their best player. That's how good he's been during this postseason.
Yeah, he won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the longest.
That doesn't necessarily mean stuff. Caleb Martin should have got that award last year.
That's right, true. That's right, true. Other reasons why they lost this game. Let's talk about Porzingis. Porzingis in the first half was excellent. Like, he shot the ball so well. 18 points, led them in scoring. He had 18. Jaylen Brown had 13. Everybody else had under 8 for them. But he was 7 of 9 in the first half, and just every time the Mavs switched a small player on him, didn't go well. He hit a shot over him. Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, even if he may have hit him in the face with his elbow, doesn't matter. He just hit over and over and over again. When the Mavs switched to small on him, he took advantage, and he just was great in that first half.
It goes back to what I was saying earlier. It almost felt like a game plan thing for the Mavericks in this game. It's like, let's see what KP has.
Yeah, right. He's coming back from injury. He's been out for 38 days.
And, they've sort of rope-a-doped you with this injury stuff. I hate this. They've sort of rope-a-doped you with the audio listeners. The Mac thing keeps putting the thumbs up above my head.
The thumbs up emoticon that shows
so
when he puts the thumbs up.
Did I even have my thumb up? I don't know. But anyways, no, it felt like we're okay with putting a small on KP. Let's see if he punishes those. Let's attack him at the rim. Derrick Jones Jr. had probably 4 or 5 attempts that were just head scratching at the rim, where you're like, what exactly is the game? What exactly is the end goal here? And Hardy in the first quarter had 2 straight possessions where he just beelined it right to KP and was like, all right, here I come. And KP was ready for it. You got to give him some props. Like, it felt like that's what the Mavericks were doing early in this game. Like, let's see what KP has. And you know what? If we lose game 1 because KP pops off in the first quarter, then so be it. And that's what happened, actually.
I wouldn't put it past Hardy to say, here I come on the way on the drive, on the way to Porzingis. Like, I bet he said, here I come.
I do. I might make a basketball.
As you drive. I'm going for it. Yeah, Porzingis was the reason why they won this game, because he was just great. He shot the ball really well. I think another reason why they won, like the Celtics won this game, is something that a couple people I know mentioned before this. Drew Holiday and Derek White not guarding the best players necessarily. They're going to be on Kyrie, but them being help defenders, oh my gosh, that is a big problem for the Mavericks. The Mavs just have to be aware of where those guys are at all times. It's no, like, the Timberwolves didn't have this. The Thunder did kind of have this with SGA, with Jalen Williams, with Dort, when they weren't guarding the main guy that had, like, the ball handler. You just have to be aware of where those guys are at all times, because they're so smart, they're so intelligent. They can, they find exactly where to go. They get it, their hands get in there. They don't foul. Like, they were just very good as help defenders, and the Mavs have to be a little bit more aware of where those guys are.
Yeah, Celtics defense just in general was on point tonight. I mean, they had, I think they said at the end of the broadcast, I don't know if it's true with all the garbage time stuff, but they had more blocks than the Mavericks had assists. So
it was 9-9. It was 9-9 in the end.
9-9. Well, there you go. They were great tonight. And like you said, it was Drew and it was Derek White helping off, making plays. The game was pretty much over, but it felt like that ceiling moment where Luka got stripped and then Derek White went down the length of the floor for a turnover. That was Derek White opportunistically coming up from behind on Luka and stripping the ball away from him. So, yeah, like you said, the Mavericks just have to be aware of that. And that's something that, you watch film over the next 2 days, you make your adjustments, and you figure out ways that maybe you can punish that. What makes it difficult, though, is that those guys are so smart that it's not like a game plan thing where it's like,
they can just switch it up.
We're doing it here. They do it. They read the game and they know when to make opportunistic plays. So it'll be an interesting chess match how the Mavericks adjust to stuff like this.
But the Mavs had an opportunity in that third quarter. They cut it to 8. That was your opportunity. You keep holding on to that. You keep connected. You get to that fourth quarter. Same thing that it was against the Timberwolves, where you're like, all right, we keep connected. We get to the fourth quarter. We muck this game up. They did muck the game up.
Yeah.
In the second quarter, third quarter, and then even into the fourth quarter, they did muck it up. But it just wasn't enough to overcome that first quarter deficit. They've really got to be better in that first quarter. Do you take anything from Hardy? 13 points, 10 minutes, came in, like you said, line drives, but.
How many of those were in garbage time, though?
Yep. That's the other
thing. He had 11 points in the fourth quarter. No, I don't take much at all from that.
Okay.
I don't take much at all. One thing I do want to say, the Josh Green minutes to me were very bad. Very, very bad. And that's a little scary because that was one of the guys you had penciled in as like, all right, this is one of the 7 or 8 guys that we feel really good about in our rotation. And, maybe it was just one of those nights, but I just thought defensively he didn't make much of an impact. Offensively, he did nothing. So he's going to have to be better. And the Mavs as a team, when Pritchard's on the floor, and, there's these lineups where it's Pritchard and Hauser and Horford and stuff like that. You got to take advantage of that. You have to. You cannot allow the Celtics to win those minutes because that's bad news for you if that's the case, because the margins are so thin for you. You have to win those minutes.
You do. Good sign for the Mavericks. There's 2 days off between these games, so Luka had a big offensive load in this game, but he's going to get 2 days off, rest, and I think that that's a great thing for him. We'll get a couple of days here. We'll get to go back and watch the film and see what we saw in this game. Go subscribe to Slightly Biased on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel. We're trying to get to 50,000 subs on YouTube. That's my next goal, my next big goal for Locked On Mavs. So subscribe on YouTube.
What are you at right now?
We're at like 35, 36,000.
We can get there tonight.
If you subscribe, and then you get 2 other people to subscribe, and they get 2 other people to subscribe.
Hey, listen, as someone who knows about the algorithm, you actually don't want that. You want people who will actually watch you.
Multi-level marketing scheme.
Trust me, man.
Come to our live show. We'll do on Tuesday, the day before Game 3 at Four Corners Brewery. So come hang out with us there. We'll be having a good time there. Hopefully the Mavs will win Game 2 on Sunday. You feel confident the Mavs winning Game 2, though?
I do. I mean, it's just this team's giving me no reason to be like, oh, this series is over and done with. Like here against the Clippers where it looked terrible, and it was like, oh, my God, what did we just witness? And then they went on to dominate the rest of that series. We were here, Game 1 against the Thunder, where the second half was like, what just happened? Like, same thing happened in the end of that series. So we'll see after Game 2. You know, if Game 2 goes a similar way, then obviously, yes, we're having a very different discussion. But if they win Game 2, then this game – I mean, it matters, but this game is a wash. You did what you were supposed to do.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. We'll be back tomorrow with more stuff. We'll be back with more shows, breaking down this Mavs team. Stick with us. Thanks so much for listening to
The sun will rise tomorrow.
Peace out. Boom!